All right, guys, real quick, coming on here, I want to have a quick chat about your playing and your mindset. When you start playing guitar or when you start looking at a lot of people on Instagram or TikTok or anything like that, you're going to get caught up in the comparing yourself to others. And that is, especially with guitar, that is a huge death trap for you. Some people, and I will say very, very small amount of people, can let that fuel them to make them a better guitarist and someone who is gonna soar with their playing. And that's something that's a very hard pill to swallow for some people, is like you see certain players and you're like, oh, I'm never gonna be like them, or that riff's way too hard, or their techniques are just leaps and bounds above mine. But that's true. All of those things are true, besides the fact that you can never be like them. You can be like them in a playing aspect where you can develop certain techniques that they have, but you as yourself are going to bring your own flavor, your own styles. Like, you're not going to sound exactly like them. Like, if you take like Dean Lamb and Archspire, no one's going to sound like Dean Lamb and Archspire. No one's going to sound like Jason Richardson when he puts his stuff together. You're going to be able to play like them, but you're not going to be able to sound like them. And I think that is a good, like, different point to help you kind of like realize stuff with your playing. There's a lot of people who will take the playing that they see on Instagram and kind of get like defeated over it. I know I used to when I was first starting in my guitar journey. I would look on Instagram for inspiration, right? And then it just keeps you scrolling and you keep seeing more and more players and better players and players where you're like, what the hell am I even doing at this point now, right? So definitely take time for yourself to understand kind of what you want out of the instrument. For me, huge thing that I wanted to do is I always wanted to shred. And I've kind of done that, but I kind of could still get better at it. I do have a video of me playing the Don't Ask, Don't Tell solo. That was a Jason Richardson solo. And I'm super proud of that. I know that album is not everybody's cup of tea or EP. But that's one of my favorite solos, and I was able to play that. It took me forever to be able to play it, but I did it. And that's kind of what I want to bring to the table with you guys, is the fact that there are a bunch of players and a bunch of talented players, especially online, where they're picking one or two of their best clips of the week. Or they're making amazing clips for 5 days of the week, and then they're just going back to practicing. Right? Like some of these social media people definitely have the time for this, and then other people don't. If you don't have time for it, a good practice routine for you is 10 to 20 minutes a day. Honestly, that's all you really need. Pick a topic every day, just like weight training. Pick a topic and go and work on it every single day. So like Monday might be your alternate picking. Tuesday might be your hybrid picking. Wednesday might be your sweeping. Thursday might be your selective picking if you know your right hand is the issue and picking is the issue. But obviously on guitar there's so many different things to work on. So on top of that, what I would say is give yourself something to write. The more you write, the more you'll practice stuff because you're putting it in your wheelhouse. There's a few kind of programs I use to write. I use Reaper and I use Guitar Pro. And both of those really help me write and really help me to understand what I'm writing. Whereas that, like, I will also use Guitar Pro to like learn songs and tabs just because it makes it easier for me. I like finding the ones that have the drums, bass, and everything, because I will say when you put it into Reaper for a cover, when you have drums and bass, everything turns out a lot smoother. But there are tons of things that you can go and learn from and kind of set your practice up, like tons of ways to schedule your practice. But that's all if you have a good mindset for it, right? We can't get defeated with Instagram. We can't get defeated with TikTok. We can't get defeated of watching somebody else's covers on YouTube. There are so many amazing players out there, and some of them are just players, right? Some of them have never toured. They've just been on the social medias, and that's okay. And if that's what you want out of guitar, or if you just want to play normally too, that's okay as well. You have to understand first what you actually want out of the instrument versus what other people want out of the instrument. Like if you look at someone like, let's just say, because I brought him up and he's one of my favorite guitarists, but Jason Richardson. If you look at him as a guitarist, you can't really put him in a box. You say, yeah, he's a super shreddy, fast guy, but that's just his like guitar playing. He can also play like bluegrass. He can play very melodic stuff with some of his songs. You can definitely hear the composing he does with all like the virtual instruments and orchestral stuff that he puts in. Like check out any of his stuff off of like his second album too. And it's just incredible. He uses so much orchestration in stuff that you can't really put him in a box. And yes, he is part of the fast, shreddy gent players, right? Or like metal deathcore players, but he's so much more than that, right? So you got to kind of find your voice with the guitar and like what, like I said, what you want out of it. But then if you look at a band like Electric Callboy, they are just partying, right? It's just party metal. It's just like, hey, like metalcore with electronic elements and party elements. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel or take over the world. You know what I mean? So they're just playing chords and riffs and stuff like that. And they're not trying to like be the fastest shredder or, you know, understand theory to the point of like nauseum. They're just trying to have fun with the instrument, it seems like. Definitely try and understand what you want out of the instrument so you can help better shape your mindset for what you want to get out of the guitar. There's tons of stuff you can do. Obviously, we have so many players. If you want to go from classic rock all the way to metal or even into pop, right? All of those players have different things that they've worked on from time to time in order to get to where they are. And that's the kind of the point I wanted to bring up with this is that your mindset and what you think you're going to do is going to dictate where you're going to go with the instrument. I know it's a lot, and I know it's kind of like a difficult thing, right? We don't want to sit alone with our thoughts. That's why social media works, and that's why, you know, we're making this video so you can watch and kind of understand things. But mindset goes a long way with guitar. If you think you can or you can't, chances are you're right. I used to hate that saying when I was a kid, but it's so true. If you want to be shreddy like this guy, you can do that. You just got to learn how to do it. Might it take you a while depending on where you're at your guitar journey? 100%. Might it take you a little bit more effort and maybe getting some lessons from some players who are amazing and you need them to help critique you with technique? Yes, that means you got to find someone who's really good with technique and really good at picking up on the nuances in people's playing. Whereas that you might get a teacher who is like, oh, I don't know exactly what I'm doing with the pick. I just play. And it's like, okay, so now I need to go find someone else because this person doesn't exactly know what I'm asking them. And that's okay too. There is tons of information out there. There is tons of teachers out there. There are tons of people who are willing to teach you things that you may or may not know. What I would recommend to you is practice the guitar, find a teacher that you mesh with and can teach you the things that you want to learn and have fun with it. Because when you know what you want out of guitar, it's just about having fun then, right? Like if you're like, oh, I want to be a singer-songwriter, maybe we want to be like Ed Sheeran, right? And not a lot of people give him benefit of the doubt in the guitar world or whatever, but solid songs, right? Maybe he wrote them, maybe he didn't, but he can still play them, right? Songwriter, singer-songwriter there. But then, like I said, we go to maybe let's go with Aaron Marshall of Intervals, one of my other favorite guitarists. Super nuanced. That man is like a scientist when it comes to guitar. Just watch some of his interviews. Sometimes it's even too much for me sometimes. I love his guitar playing and I love the way he thinks about guitars, but he's like a mad scientist. Like he has a degree in guitar building education and all of that other stuff where everything is so meticulous that he breaks it down to like the nth degree. And it doesn't have to be that if you don't want it to be that. So understand that this is all about having fun, right? And there's other guitarists who are just like, fuck it, I just want to have fun with this. So go do the things that you want to do on guitar and the things that make you happy on guitar. And you know, that's not saying that you need the fanciest guitar or the cheapest guitar or like, well, my equipment's not good enough. If you have a computer and maybe some plugins, you're already ahead of most of the pack. I'll tell you that. There's a lot of people who don't maybe have what you have, and it sucks to say, but it's also true. And it's also something that you need to take advantage of what you have. I do have the fortunate circumstances to have what I have. And I know it's definitely not everything. There are tons of guitars that I have that I don't need. There are tons of equipment that I have that I don't need. Have I ever toured? No, I've never toured, but I've definitely played a lot of shows in my local venues back in the day. And I thought the equipment was necessary because I thought if I had the best equipment, that nothing was going to hold me back. And let me tell you, the thing that held me back more than anything was probably my mindset, with when I used to think like, oh, I'll never be like them, or of course this person's better than me and they're younger than me. But what you have to do in that case is set aside that time, dedicated practice, make sure you're practicing, even if it's only 20 minutes, even if you only have 10 minutes a day, make it consistent and make it prolonged, because then that way you're going to make the progress that you want to make. So if there's anything you guys take away from this video, is the fact that you just need to be doing the thing you love. Whether it is guitar, whether it's tone chasing, whether it's recording, whether it's creating tabs, whether it's playing video games, I don't care. Just do the things you love, because the things you love are going to be the things that take you further in this life and make you progress. And who cares what people think about it if you're just a kid who's stuck in your room playing guitar? Oh, who cares if someone's like, oh, well, you never get out anymore and stuff like that. But it's like, you're doing something you love. Understand that your love for things is going to take you way further than what anybody thinks. Like I said, the love you have for stuff is going to be the most beneficial thing you have. So we got the mindset and the love for what you're doing. Take it easy, guys. I just wanted to give you a little piece of my mind, kind of what's on my mind right now. I do practice a lot, so that's something. But so you guys know too, I'm also looking for a teacher. Every once in a while, I like to get my skills checked up on. And I know one of the hardest things for me right now is trying to figure out like pick slanting. I feel like I need someone to kind of like take a look at my technique and kind of critique and figure out what's going on with it. I feel like that's what's holding me back. And if that's the thing that I think's holding me back, I want to get it checked out. So make sure you guys get yourself checked on guitar or whatever you guys love to do, and make sure you're progressing with it. Make sure you're taking these things and make sure you're running with them. Okay. So peace out, guys. Have a good day, and just make sure you master that mindset.